Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Live Ones. It is Saturday, April 30th, 2022. Day 2 of the NFL Draft is in the books, and we had some rather epic slides of players who should have been taken in the second round and some major reaches. Malik Willis finally found his home in Tennessee, where I think Ryan Tannehill was always a temporary solution until they found someone better, which frankly could be the subtitle of Tannehill's entire career. He's the girl that you date just to have someone around, but you know you can't have a future with her. She probably feels the same way about you, actually. Nakobe Dean, the first-round talent linebacker from Georgia, who everyone passed on in the first round, fell all the way to the Eagles in the middle of the third round. There were questions about his size and questions about his medical fitness, but honestly, if they're going to use him like he was used at Georgia most of the time in zone coverage and quarterback spy sets, and let Hassan Reddick, their new free agent linebacker, do the blitzing, any medical questions are less of a concern. There are going to be less collisions, at least of the type where other people are running into him. He's going to be running into a lot of people in space. Dallas, the Cowboys, made a huge reach with linebacker Sam Williams, who I had a fifth-round grade on. Same with Minnesota taking Ed Ingram, the guard from LSU, who absolutely would have been there in the fourth round if they wanted him there. And of course, as usual, wide receivers flew off the board who had no business going where they did. Wide receivers are the new quarterbacks. You apparently can't win without a premium one, so everyone is so desperate for one that they'll spend salary cap they can't afford and draft capital they need for other things. I'm telling you, offensive line, running backs, linebackers. That's all you need to win in today's NFL. It would revolutionize the NFL. The second round of the NBA playoffs is completely set now. The Grizzlies polished off the Timberwolves in the last round one game last night. They'll face the Warriors starting tomorrow. We got the Celtics and the Bucks. Man, that's going to be a great series. Sixers versus the Heat. Heat are going to take that one. Joel Embiid has suffered his annual injury that will keep him from taking this team past the second round. Happens every year at this point. And Suns versus the Mavericks. I honestly think it'll once again be the higher-seeded team in every series. This has been a playoffs that, apart from injuries, has been very devoid of surprises so far. The Mets had 5 pitchers combined for a no-hitter against the Phillies last night after Tyler McGill was taken out after 5 innings and 88 pitches. And herein lies the problem. You know, for the entire history of baseball, up until about 20 years ago, if a starting pitcher was dialed in enough to be throwing a no-hitter, 88 pitches could get them through all 9 innings because they'd attack the strike zone. If they needed to work a hitter into swinging and missing, they'd use different parts of the zone to change things up. But rarely would you intentionally throw breaking balls out of the zone on purpose to throw off a hitter's timing. Then, as sabermetrics became the norm and statisticians figured out that you only wanted the starter to face the order twice, working 2-ball and 3-ball counts became normal for pitchers. That, incidentally, Major League Baseball, by the way, is the chief reason baseball games take an hour longer to play than they did when we were all kids. You know, in the 80s, the 90s, in the steroid era, which was more accurately called the amphetamine era, but whatever, we used to call it quality start 6 innings with only 3 earned runs given up. If your starter could give you that reliably, they were a good starter worth keeping. That's when ERAs of high 3s and low 4s for Cy Young candidates were the norm. Just if that's how the game was back then. Roy Halladay was regarded as such a dominant pitcher for so long because he had an ERA of like 2.9, which now there are between starters and relievers there are 50 pitchers in Major League Baseball who are doing better than that now. It's, again, just the nature of the game. But yes, a quality start used to be 6 innings with 3 earned runs given up. Then the benchmark got moved back to 5 innings. You want your starter to get through 5, and if he gets too close to 90 pitches, it's time to pull him to keep his arm from overworking over the 35 starts he'll be making over the next 6 months. Now, some managers are fine if their starter gets them through 4, and the pitch count's around 80 now. Gradually, more and more, the starting pitching role is being eliminated. It's just another form of a long reliever. Anyways, I really think we need an official new statistical categorization for this. It completely delegitimizes the past performance, the greatness of pitchers who threw no-hitters before, to call something it took 5 guys to do the same thing. Combined no-hitter isn't sufficient. A qualifier or asterisk isn't sufficient. We need a new term. It's not a no-hitter, and a hot dog isn't a sandwich, and Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie, no matter how many times the internet says it. Anyways, the Mets winning did win us one of our 3 bets yesterday with a clean sweep, 3-0. We're up almost 5 units on the week so far. It's a great week. Let's finish it out strong today. We got baseball and UFC to go over. Let's get to it. We're going to start with an afternoon game, the Angels and the White Sox. Don't look now, but the LA Angels might just have what it takes to dethrone the Astros in the West this year. Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, Shohei Ohtani, and Jared Walsh. I'll take that foursome over pretty much any other team's best four at the plate right now. The White Sox are a rudderless sinking ship. There is something wrong with offense all over baseball. It's being blamed on these new baseballs with higher stitches that are creating more air drag and causing home runs to get knocked down at the warning track. I frankly think it's the really unseasonably cold April most of the Midwest and Eastern U.S. has had. But the White Sox can't buy an offensive rally right now, and they showed it again last night. I'm riding this train until there's a reason not to. You're still getting a great price on the Angels' money line. Let's go ahead and take it. Angels, straight up money line. Over to the follow-up to the no-hitter. The Mets and the Phillies. When Kyle Gibson was brought in from the Rangers at the trade deadline last year, it was to be a veteran innings eater for the Phillies. And he's done that job very, very well. He reliably gets the Phillies into, if not through, the sixth inning or later almost every time he starts. But he does give up runs. That's just a simple fact. The Mets, who have the best record in baseball at 15-6, have won their first 6 series of the season for the first time in franchise history. Their run differential of plus 36 is tied with the Yankees for third best in baseball. Their lineup, top to bottom, hits for contact and rips out extra base hits like no one's business. They're going to be able to get runs off of Gibson. It's just how it is. Tejuan Walker is back on the mound for his first start against these same Phillies. Resulted in him being pulled with an injury after just 2 innings. He's an unknown. We still have no idea if he's back to the form he was in the first half of last year, or if he's the same guy we saw in the fall last year and the spring this year. So I'm staying away from what the Phillies may or may not do in this game because it's impossible to predict. Not taking a side, not taking a full game total, not taking a game total or anything like that. What I'm looking at is that I know the Mets are going to score runs. Mets team total is 3.5. I'm jumping on that over. And speaking of those Yankees, they play the Royals today after they just went off for 12 runs last night. Garrett Cole on the mound, plus the Yankees' rock-solid bullpen, plus the Royals' offense equals low runs on the Royals side. And their team total is listed at 2.5, so that reflects that. The Yankees' money line of minus 225 has absolutely no value. So to cap this game, we have to take a look at what the Yankees might do on offense. And shocker of shockers, in the last 10 games, they've been on an absolute tear, averaging 6.7 runs a game. This is a completely different Yankees team at the plate than we saw last year. Anthony Rizzo and Aaron Judge are knocking the cover off the ball these past 2 weeks. Even Tim Locastro is doing a nice job in his fill-in role. You're getting a nice price on the Yankees' run line at minus 1.5 runs at minus 125. I'm going to go ahead and take that. So then we've got UFC Fight Night, and the fight that I'm looking at that I think has the best value is the fight between Jared Gordon and Grant Dawson. Gordon making the walk to the octagon for the first time this year with momentum on his side. He's had to grind out 3 tough decision wins since late 2020. And that's a good thing because prior to that, he got knocked out in 3 out of his 4 fights prior to that. Grant Dawson moved up from catchweight to lightweight in his last fight and proceeded to knock out Leonardo Santos in a fight that was a real challenge for him because it took him 13 tries to finally land a successful takedown where he could start raining down punches. Dawson's record is a whole lot better than at 17-1-1 than a lot of his fights lately have been. He's only got a career 40% takedown defense, which is something Gordon can easily exploit with all the practice he's had at wrestling lately. Dawson's cardio is also pretty suspect, and he tends to fade late. I think this fight is a lot more evenly matched than the odds makers are making it, and you're getting a great value play here on Gordon's money line at plus 165. This is one I'm just going ahead and taking a chance with because I'm up so far for the week. But I wouldn't be making it if I didn't think it had a better chance of hitting, if the EV wasn't worth the risk. So yeah, there it is. Jared Gordon to win straight up at plus 165. Let's just make a great value play there. That is my 4th and final play for the day. Everyone bet safe, stay safe. Follow us on Twitter at Live One Sports. Check us out on Roku and Fire TV at The Live Ones. Have yourselves a great Saturday, and I will see you next time.